Hello children, welcome to Uma Talks, and here I am with standard 11th English. Okay, first chapter you have already done, and today we are going to start with our second chapter. Okay, the summary of the second chapter. So the chapter is, we are not afraid to die if we can all be together. Okay, we are not afraid to die if we can all be together, and the author is Gordon Cook and Alan East. Okay, so go through the chapter in your text and let me know if you find some problems. You can always ask me. Okay, but here I am giving you the summary so that it will help you to understand. Got it? So here the author talks about his hazardous experience, the experience, okay, which normally we can connect ourselves with it, okay, which we face with death. Sometimes like we see death from very close, and these sort of experiences, they give us quite important lessons. They teach us very important lessons, okay, of life, you can say. And they also tell us that life is not always bed of roses, okay, and we must react to dangers and risks with patience. Like if you become impatient and you take decisions, definitely it will be more hazardous. Okay, so patience is required at many of the times in our lives. Adversity is the true test of character, and the purity of gold is judged by putting it in fire. Yes, सोने को आग में ही तपा के उसको पहनने लायक उसकी purity देखी जाती है. So that is what it says, and this is the best. Normally, these tough situations in our lives bring out, shows how we are, brings out the best in us. Okay, and coward people, you know very well, they die before their death. So this was just an introduction. Let us come to the summary. Okay, so this is a story of 1976. Okay, and the narrator, a 37-year-old businessman, his wife Mary, okay, 6-year-old son Jonathan, and 7-year-old daughter Susan. So they go on a sail to Plymouth, okay, England. They are sailing in the ship, and they wish to go around the world. Okay, so they go for a sea journey and they want to go around the world in the ship. Okay, as Captain James Cook, okay, had done it 200 times earlier. So James Cook had gone around the world, okay, in the ship. So they also wanted to do the same work. So they started in 23 meters, 30-ton wooden hullet boat named Wave Walker. Now children, you should just mark, okay, the ship, which was 23 meters, and it was 30 ton, the weight of the wooden boat, you can say, and the name of the boat they had named as Wave Walker. Now the first part of their planned 3-year, okay, that was 105,000 kilometers journey passed pleasantly. So the first part, 3 years का पूरा वो जो उनकी world journey थी, वो 3 years का था. So the first part of the journey that they covered, that is 105,000 kilometers. Okay, that went off very smoothly. They sailed from west coast of Africa to Cape Town. Okay, and they took on 2 crewmen, 2 people to help along with it, 2 crew people. Okay, and the names of the crew people: Larry Vigil, an American, and Herb Sigler, a Swiss, to help them across the rough southern Indian Ocean. So there were the 2 people to help the 2 crewmen. That was Larry and Herb Sigler. So that also you must remember. So on their second day out of Cape Town, so up till Cape Town it was good, pleasant. So out of Cape Town, they faced extremely strong winds. Okay, now the tough situation they have entered, which blew continuously for the next few weeks. Waves, they rose up to 15 meters. High waves came. Okay, on December 25th, they were 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town. So Cape Town ke east 3,500 kilometers they had traveled. Though the weather was very bad, they enjoyed Christmas and New Year's Day. So the weather was not good, but still, you can enjoy every day when the whole family is there. So the family was there, isn't it? The husband, wife, and the 2 kids. So they enjoyed in that rough weather also. They enjoyed Christmas and they enjoyed the New Year also. So the weather again kept on changing, and it was getting worse day by day. So on January 2nd, mighty waves were seen, and they were sailing at 8 knots. Okay, so completely scared, and they kept on sailing still. They slowed down the boat by dropping the small sail and fastened mooring rope in a loop across the hind part of the boat. Yes, so what did they do? The sail which is seen like a flag, which it is seen in the front, usko drop kar diya, okay, and they tied the parts, okay, front ka jo portion hai usko loop se tie karke. So all that means all the precautionary measures they started taking. They started preparing for the worst. So they had attached lifelines. Lifelines means suppose if the boat overturns, they would be in water. So lifelines, and put on waterproof clothes. So they were completely prepared. They wore water and life jackets, and they were waiting for the storm. Like if it gets worse, they can jump into the water, save their lives. They cannot like to save themselves from drowning. So the first sign of the imminent disaster came as portentous silence. So finally what happened? What was the result of this? All of them became silent, seeing the environmental conditions. The wind dropped and the sky immediately grew dark. So now what happened? The wind stopped blowing, okay, and the sky became dark as if it was going to rain. And then came a growing roar and very huge waves. And again the waves started roaring, and the huge height waves, it started coming. A tremendous explosion shook the deck, and it exploded as if the waves beating on the deck of the ship, okay, of the boat, and it shook the complete boat, that as if it exploded. And the narrator's head stuck on the wheels, and he flew over the side of the boat into the water. Okay, so finally what happened? That explosion which was made on the deck with the wave, okay, the narrator was there, and his head, it stuck on the wheel, and he flew with that explosion. He flew to the side of the boat, and the boat was covered with water, so into that water, and he was sinking below the waves. So finally, as if the waves were above him, and he was into the water. He could understand that death was approaching. Okay, that he accepted also the approaching death. Suddenly his head appeared out of water. So finally what happened? He was there in the water, and he poked his head. His head poked out of the water. A few meters away, Wave Walker was about to turn over in water. So little distance, Wave Walker was also about to turn in the water. Then a wave threw her upright, and finally a wave from the other side just pushed the Wave Walker, and it became upright, means straight. It was about to overturn, but it became straight. And succeeding waves, the more coming waves, okay, threw the narrator around the deck like a rag doll. So और जो waves आ रहे थे children, what happened? The wave only threw the narrator. The narrator was there in the water, and the waves threw the narrator on the deck, as if you throw a doll somewhere. So just like a rag doll, the narrator from the water was thrown on the deck. Okay, his left ribs cracked. Now with that, you can say with that strength, the waves must have thrown him back into the boat. Okay, he seemed as if his ribs have broken. Okay, the sound came. His mouth was filled with blood and broken teeth. So the teeth was broken into his mouth. Okay, and the mouth was completely filled with blood. He somehow found the wheel and lined up the stern for the next wave, and finally anyhow he looked for the wheel and got prepared for the next wave to come. So there was water, and the complete ship was covered with water, but he could not leave his place in order to investigate. So he saw that everywhere there was water, but now what was the condition of the boat? Okay, he could not leave his place, the wheel place, okay, from where he was steering. He could not leave the place and go and see what was the situation inside. So suddenly his wife opened the door in the deck and shouted that they were sinking as the decks were broken. So the wife comes to the deck, and she tells her husband that the decks, means the borders, have been broken down and the boat was sinking. Okay, so the narrator asked her to take the wheel and then he moved quickly to the door. So narrator calls his wife and tells that you handle this wheel and let me go inside. So he goes to investigate. Larry and Herb, they were those two crewmen, if you remember, okay, they were pumping water out of the ship. The water had already entered into the ship and they were pumping the water out. So the wooden beams had broken, the beams which was protecting the boat from the water. Okay, the water couldn't enter. So now because they have been broken, the water was entering. And these two crewmen were pumping the water out. The wooden beams had broken. The whole starboard side had burst inwards. Okay, so everything was, as you can say, in a very bad condition. Clothes, crockery, charts, tins and toys moved around because the waves moved everything inside the boat here and there, making sound. And he anyhow crawled into the children's cabin. Okay, the children, there was a cabin for the children in the boat. So the author gets into the cabin. The daughter Sue had got a big bump on her head. Okay, she also must have been thrown by the wave. Okay, falling here and then. She had a big bump on her head, and he had no time to attend to her. He knew that he could not go to her and comfort her or tell her or give her some medication. Okay, there was no time for all that. He found a hammer, a screw and a canvas. Okay, all these so that the ship could be repaired. So it started the repair work. He managed to stretch canvas and secure waterproof hatch covers across the gaping holes. So there were holes in the boat. So he started covering the gaps, the holes, and most of the water was now being deflected over the side. So he could see, he could cover those holes and the water was pushed towards the side. Then the hand pumps started to block up with the debris. The hand pumps stopped working. Okay, that was being blocked with the waste debris which is there, which was there in the boat, which was there in the water. Okay, so that was getting blocked. The electric pump had a short circuit, so that also. So all, when something goes wrong, children, everything continuously goes wrong, isn't it? So water level was rising up dangerously. He found that the two spare hand pumps had been pulled away by currents along with the forestay sail. So finally, everything he couldn't manage to do, they couldn't understand what to do. Okay, so the dinghies and the main anchor, everything was not working. He searched another electric pump, connected it to an out pump, and water was pumped out throughout night. So throughout night, an electric pump was attached and they kept on pumping complete night. And they got no replies from their bad days calls. And they had connected, but they kept on asking for help, but then no calls. Sue's head had swollen alarmingly, Sue's head, okay. And she had two enormous black eyes and a deep cut on her arm. So the children also were badly injured, you can say. And on the morning of January 3rd, this is January 2nd, all these things happened. January 3rd, the pumps had reduced the amount of water on the boat. So finally, the water was pumped out and each of them took rest for 2 hours turn by turn. So the people kept on taking rest turn by turn, 2 hours, and they had survived for 15 hours since the wave had hit the wave water. And now, but she was not strong enough to take them to Australia. Now they could understand that the boat was completely broken and it was not strong enough to so that they could sail in the same ship to Australia. So he checked the charts, calculated. Who checked the charts? The author checked the charts. Okay, calculated that there were 2 small islands close by, a few hundred kilometers to the east, and hoped to reach Amsterdam. Okay, a French scientific base. And on January 4th, after 36 hours, children, this time, the dates, very important, please note it down. This particular chapter deals with this only. Okay, so and on January 4th, after 36 hours of continuous pumping the water, they reached the last centimeters of water. And now they had to keep pace with the water still coming in. So all the excess of water was pumped out and they had to keep the speed with that particular water that was getting in inside at that particular time. So Mary found some corned beef and cracker biscuits. Some were left. Okay, so the wife, the mother, okay, so she finds some beef and some biscuits and they ate these up. And then the first meal they had after 2 days. For 2 days they did not eat anything, and their relief was short-lived, because at 4 p.m. again the clouds began building, and within an hour the wind was back to 40 knots. Okay, the sea was getting higher, and throughout the night the weather became worse, and by dawn means on morning, January 5th, the situation was extremely dangerous. So again it became dangerous. The narrator went in to comfort the children, okay, just to encourage the children, give them some hope. John asked if they were going to die. The boy asked his father, are we going to die? Okay, really very sad. The narrator tried to assure him, and he said, we aren't afraid of dying if we can all be together. So he says we shouldn't be afraid of dying, because we are all together. We'll do something or the other. And why should you be afraid? Okay, the narrator could not find words to respond. Okay, so the child himself asks the father that if they were going to die, okay, and when he assures they could make it, okay, that they could make it, he will be able to save them. Okay, the child himself again says that we aren't afraid of dying if we are all together. It's great. The narrator, okay, the father couldn't find words to respond, okay, what the child said. That is the hope of the child. He determined to fight the sea, protect the weak starboard side, decided to stop the ship with the undamaged part hull facing, coming to the waves, and he used an improvised sea anchor of heavy nylon rope, about 22 liters plastic barrels of paraffin. And all these, the father got more inspired, okay, tried his level best to save the whole family, okay, to you can say whatever the amendments could be done on the boat, everything he tried to do. So more water, but still more water rushed in through the broken planks in the evening. More water entered into the boat. Now 6th January, the wind became less severe. The narrator got a reading on the sextant, so the reading started showing. Okay, he made quick calculations, and she came in and gave him a card she had made. Okay, the daughter enters, and she had drawn caricatures of Mary and the narrator. So she had drawn some drawing arts, some caricatures, okay, of the father and the mother. It also had a message expressing love and thanks. So finally they were out, and the girl enters into the deck expressing thanks and love to the parents. And at 2 p.m. after checking calculations, the narrator asks Larry to steer a course of 185. Means these are the angles to which it has to be changed. So they change up to 185 degrees, and he could then expect to see an island at about 5 p.m. So at about 5 p.m. finally they could see an island. Then he went below, climbed on his bunk and dozed off. So now, because he could see the island, went off to doze little, sleep, rest, and woke up at 6. John entered and asked if he could embrace his daddy. She was right behind him. Okay, so finally they wanted to embrace the father. Okay, they called him the best daddy in the whole world and the best captain. They informed him that they had found the island. So the children went to wake up the father, embraced him, told him that he was the best father in the whole world and he was the best captain, okay, and they informed him that they had already found the island. The narrator rushed on the deck, okay, saw the outline of the island. Which was the island? Amsterdam. That night they anchored offshore, okay, anchored the ships. The next morning, all 28 inhabitants of the island cheered them. Okay, so 28 people were living on that particular island. They cheered and helped them ashore. After reaching the land, the narrator thought of Larry and Harvey, and they had been cheerful under all this stress. So Mary had stayed at the wheel for these crucial hours, and then he thought of his 7-year-old girl who did not want them to worry about her head injury, and of the 6-year-old boy who was not afraid to die. So this is the whole story. Little confusing about the dates and all, but children, at the end you come to a conclusion that the father also was very tough in taking the decisions. He was strong enough because the children never complained about the problems. Okay, the girl had a bump on her head, but she never complained about it. The boy was not afraid of dying, so that was great. And the 2 crewmen also helped. The mother was helpful. So all of them it is very true as the title. We are not afraid to die when we are all together. Okay, so hope you would have understood. Give a big like. Okay, do share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel so that you can see the other videos as soon as I upload. Okay, when you subscribe, there will be a bell. So press the bell so that you get the notification. Thank you all. Thank you for watching.